kind of a world do you want to live in? It is just a little known fact that, believe it or not, what you put into the world is what you get out of the world. And this is an important fact because it creates agency in a person's life. It is a recognition that through your behaviors that you actually affect a lot of things. Yeah. And where I want to start this is George Carlin did this video a long time ago. It might have been George and other comedians actually talk about this. Where in America, it became about eye gouging, cheating, lying, kneecapping, and destroying to get what you want. And somehow everybody thought that was cool. They thought that behavior was awesome. Willing to just any atrocity known to man as long as you win. Now, if you did the atrocities and you lost, there was severe punishments for it. But if you did the atrocities and you won, people loved you. This is the Scarface complex, where people view Scarface as a hero when he's actually a monster. And that is what everybody in this church has. You see, in my newsfeed, as I review my videos, I keep getting Machiavellianism, which is considered a mental disorder, by the way. I keep getting narcissism and just all the aspects of the dangerous side of psychology. And they all tell you, like, one thing. Do all the bad things. Whenever you engage in anything, cheat. Okay? And this sounds like cool edgelord stuff. It sounds like amazing. But let's talk about the world that leads to. Now, these people go do unto others as they do to you. That is the people in the church that has me under contract. Do unto others as they do to you. Okay, one, if that is your philosophy, you don't actually follow your philosophy, because I never poisoned stew with heavy metals. I never raped anybody. I never waterboarded anybody. I didn't do any of those things. And yet you go do unto others as they do to you. Who did those things to you? Where are they at? Maybe you got them confused with me. Maybe you need to go find them. And maybe you need to beat, rape, and waterboard and poison them with heavy metals. But let's be honest, you're not gonna, because you're a coward. My point about this is these people put that into the world. And they go, everybody has to be like this. This is the only way to win. When I literally showed them you can win by being a good person, they just couldn't live with it. Because it disproved their entire world. And this is the thing about people. People hate it, especially narcissists. Hate it when you destroy their own objective reality. In these people's worlds, they do any evil they can think of. Murdering your wife, murdering your kid, murdering your friends. And then they go, well, I'm the victim in it. Because this is my objective reality. And you weren't doing what we wanted you to. We weren't doing what we tried to force you to do. It didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work. And then we persisted. Because persistence is the only way to get things done. Being a complete fucking brick. And never thinking. And then just keep doing, and then when it gets bad, keep doing, and then if you kill somebody, just keep doing, and then as they dig their own hole, and they scream the entire time while they're digging their hole, I'm the victim in it. No. You see, my problem with that psychology is the world it's given birth to. These billionaires that were with Jeffrey Epstein raping kids and killing women, and this is the thing, people go on about the pedophilia. Those billionaires were up to way worse shit. And I know that because I'm a part of a church, and guess what? We were up to way worse shit than just pedophilia Okay, cannibalism is the norm. Okay, every one of the church leaders is a cannibal. Okay, and it's because they create the image of there's two people. There's the Ubermensch, the predator class. They're predators. They're not human beings. They're monsters, and they eat and consume and destroy. And if you shoot them in the head, everybody in their stupid fucking church comes for you. Because they have to defend the predators. But even in nature, that is not how things work. When a predator gets killed by what they call the sheep, the thing that you hunt, and that does happen in the wild. There is a reason why animals have horns. It is for defending themselves. If a cheetah gets killed in the wild, the other cheetahs fuck off. These people in this church do the exact opposite. That is against nature. Okay, and they argue the nature that, the predator, the violent, stupid person willing to kill, to do anything to get what they want, is the guy that needs to be in control because he has no self-discipline. He has no self-control. And that is the truth about every church leader, by the way. Remember that shit I was talking about programming these people? You say something, they do it. Because they don't have any, they're impulsive. They don't have self-control. They're animals. It's kind of like, people who own cats run into this. You ever had a cat and you close the door and they want it open, so you open the door, the cat walks through the door, and then you close the door again and they go back to the door and they want it open, you open it and they walk back through the door. The reason your cat is walking back and forth through that door isn't because there's anything smart about it. It's impulsiveness. It knows the door is closed and it doesn't want the door closed because it causes anxiety. It is suddenly trapped in the room and it doesn't want to be trapped. And then when you put it and it walks through the door and then you close it again, it's suddenly trapped in that room. So then it wants the door open again. Okay? Your animal is it's not smart enough to recognize that. People like Stu, or any church leader for that matter, is not smart enough to recognize this behavior in themselves. The reason they're impulsive, the reason they randomly murder people isn't because of some divine right. It is a instinct that has to do with being perpetually terrified. Paranoia. This is important because even if you break this down into any type of complex understanding, you really begin to understand exactly why why America is the way it is. It's not a mystery. Okay, we could live in a good world what creates good people who win. The issue is when we have good people win, this church shoots them in the head. Martin Luther King, Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, all people that were going to do the right thing, and they all got fucking bullets to the head because these people cultivate a psychology that they're like, this is the holy grail of psychologies because it's a piece of shit. And we're going to enable it to be a piece of shit. Once again, if the church didn't baby these guys, they would be out on their asses a long time ago. If everybody on the planet wasn't trying to defend Stu and put him in prison where he belongs, we would be in a better world. If everybody in this church just stood up and did the right thing and said, fuck it, you're going to prison. Okay? And as they scream, it's my religion, excuse, you just ignored them. And then when they were in prison, you had a psychologist explain to them, yeah, okay, but here's the problem. In America, we don't want to live in that world. We don't want to live in the world where the pedophiles run everything. We don't want to live in the world where the cannibals run everything. We don't want to live in a world where violent, stupid people do violent, stupid things like 9/11, which this church did. They did 9/11. And then they've tried to blame the brown people because the truth is, in America, we are secretly run by a bunch of crazy Christians who believe in Friedrich Nietzsche, who believe they're Ubermensch predators that get to eat and kill everybody, scream they're the victims in it because they have no self-control, and then go to war with the brown people in the Middle East. Mostly over, they have a prophet and we have a prophet, and we got to figure out which prophet's the true prophet through violence. Because as we know, God chooses sides in these things, and if they go to war with the brown people in the Middle East and they start murdering enough, they're gonna find out who the true prophet is. That's how that works. If you get as many people killed for your made up imaginary bullshit, that is imaginary bullshit. Okay. As scary and dangerous as every member of this church is, the truth is they're a child who believes a fantasy. Stu goes, I'm a predator. I'm an animal. That's why I kill and eat babies and I murder people and I'm violent and I poison people with heavy metals because I'm an ubermensch. Yeah, so edgelordy. And then he ran into me. And it didn't work. Suddenly, his objective reality of being superior was proven to him that he was inferior on every level, and he couldn't live with that reality. So what did he do? Well, he got everybody on the planet involved to try and stop a trailer park guy. And he failed. Which tells you exactly where every church leader is. Because Stu isn't an island unto himself. He is an example of every church leader. He is an example of what failure looks like when you can't fucking radically accept that you are a goddamn loser and the world would be better off if you were fucking dead. Okay. And this ain't ranting and raving, because even when I was president of these people, there was literally, when you're president, they basically admit that some of the fucking church leaders are just inherent fucking losers. And even though they're the predators and they're willing to kill, that's what's important, they're willing to murder, they're willing to commit any atrocity, they're not actually glorious. They're not actually set up to become anything because they don't have anything. And the whole thing feeds into that shit with Blondie. I have to steal your glory. I have to replace you. Because that is I was told I was going to be great when I was a kid because they lied to me. And greatness doesn't work that way, by the way. And if a sheep comes up with an idea, I can kill them and take it, and then suddenly people will like me and I'll get the external validation my dad never gave me. And don't kid yourself, the entire scenario and every aspect of everything these malignant narcissist church leaders do comes down to external validation. It comes down to external validation. In fact, I want to make this clear. I made this stupid fucking wish to anal eating mummy god that all the church leaders had to live in poverty and they weren't allowed to be a part of social media. And he went, because after I made that wish, I was immediately harassed by member after member of this church, explaining to me that their church leader is now dying because they're not getting that attention they crave. They're not getting, and I want to talk about, even murder is a form of attention. When you talk about murders, these guys, the dopamine in their head skyrockets. The psychopath absolutely loves it. And even, this is the thing, one of these dudes literally runs one of the church leaders literally runs a YouTube page where he talks about serial killers, and he's a fucking serial killer. And the whole thing is I'm so smart, I'm getting away with it, and that's dopamine. You're so stupid, you don't know it's me. Like, that's the thing about these people, okay? It is the child who is up to no good and grinning ear to ear, and then it's like, this is the world I want to live in. A world where we cover up the consequences, but then when the consequences come for them, what do? They shoot it in the face and then scream they're the victim. Okay. And screaming you're the victim in this church isn't just a mindset, but it is actually it is a tactic. It is a tactic for them to scream they're the victims in it. Even when I was at Papa John's and Blondie's brother came in and he was like, I wish the church was gone. I wished you found a different way to do it. And we had that back and forth. And he was like, he wanted it gone in a way that he didn't go to prison. That was the entire thing, is he didn't want to be held to account for his actions. And the issue with that, the issue is if you just let these people off, there isn't anybody to say, look at what religion does. Look at what religion does. Okay? If you were to destroy the church tomorrow, I guarantee none of these malignant narcissists would even bother to do a fucking YouTube video about how destructive their own religion is, because their religion made them. And in their brains, they're superior, they're smarter, they're better. They were told those things, and they loved hearing those things growing up. It was the validation they didn't get from their daddy. And their daddy doesn't validate them, and I want to talk about this fear culture about daddy not validating you. Why doesn't daddy validate you? Well, he's a complete piece of shit that has to hide out in the desert, have sex, and do drugs in a temple, and he doesn't have time to be a daddy. He doesn't have time to be a father. So he just ignores these people and then takes credit for them and tells them, oh, my genes are superior, so you're superior. Okay. And I was thinking about this. I think this would be a really great idea for a movie. I'd like to see a Nazi movie where a bunch of blonde-haired, blue-eyed losers create like a bioweapon like Resident Evil. They alter their genetics with eugenics, just like this church does, where they're trying to steal everybody's genes, but they're also trying not to be black, which is why some of these church leaders look weird because they're somehow tan with blonde hair, and some of their features don't make any sense if you look at them from a genetic standpoint. You're like, how the fuck does this Eastern White European have these features? They look like weird amalgamations because they are weird amalgamations. Okay. But I think, well, anyways, what I was saying is if you did do a movie, I would just like the ultimate fucking threat to the super-powered eugenics monster to be the sun. Oh no, skin cancer, that thing that fucking kills white people who believe they're superior all the time. Just fucking, they have a monster and his weakness is the sun. But I guess you kind of do that with vampires. I guess you could use vampires as an allegory for this church, but yeah. This is, like, that's the world. Like I said, that's the world these people want to live in. A world where you don't help anybody ever. You never do the right thing. You do the wrong thing. And this is the thing. They sent me this video. It's just this entitled rich white girl. And most of these videos are entitled rich people who have never had a bad day in their life. Who were like, your problem is you're not selfish enough. Their selfishness works because they have money to unfuck themselves. If you took their money from them and they attacked the world from how they think, everything would go bad for them. If they were alone and the church members didn't sacrifice everything, and the church members themselves are the biggest cucks and losers on the planet because they're poor. They don't have anything. They work shitty fucking jobs. They work shitty 9-to-5s. They're told they're superior beings, but the real superior being is the fucking church leader that tells them what to do. These guys are the furthest things from superior beings on the planet, okay? But they're told because they're willing to kill, because they're willing to commit atrocity, they will one day be great. Yes, they're going to be great fucking Papa John's managers. And I look at Gannon as of all these people, because I remember Gannon had this twinkle in his eye of this superior, working hard, earning it. And then I was like, and let me guess, and I started laughing, and I was like, don't tell me you also murder people, fuck them up, rape people, hurt people, and then scream you're the victim in it, and then you've achieved being a manager, the same thing a high school dropout can do. The same job a high school dropout can do. Congratulations, you're a fucking manager at Papa John's, you loser. Yeah. And I think a lot, probably too much. But in regards to the shadow self, I sit around calling these people losers, and objectively in capitalism, they're winners. The fact of the matter is yeah, they can human traffic, they can rape babies, they can kill anybody they want, they have all the money in the world. But in that, it itself, in capitalism, is winning. So, maybe me calling them losers isn't entirely accurate. Maybe they're the worst kind of winners. Maybe that's the truth about them. They're the worst kind of winners.